I always want to stand up and walk away and wave, but that would be silly. Get Up and Go Challenge, day 12. Welcome to day 12. Yesterday we talked about the I's and how we decide among alternatives, right? Now hopefully you picked 3 of those and you ran them through the how do I really decide between these alternatives what I should do. And sometimes you don't need to go through this exercise. You just know what the next thing you have to do is. But a lot of times we tell ourselves we don't know what to do, when really deep down, if we just be quiet and listen to ourselves, we always know what to do. People will tell you that you don't know what to do, but they're wrong. We always know what's right for us. Other people will tell us what they think is right for us, but that's not necessarily, and a lot of times, not what's right for us. What's right for us, only we know what that is. And we're the only ones that know what that is at any given time. So even though this seems really hard, and we make it harder than it has to be, because in life we want to keep things simple, although we human beings love to complicate everything, we need to know that we always know what we need to do. So have confidence and belief in yourself and faith in yourself, knowing that you know what you need to do. So we talked about that yesterday to help us decide among alternatives. And hopefully one thing rose to the top as, all right, this is the thing I know I have to do. Now, today we're going to look at that one thing and we're going to take an immediate action to move us toward that one thing. I didn't say we were going to do that one thing, right? Because think about this. Maybe your next thing to do is fill the gaps in your existing business. Maybe it's to improve your skills because you're out of work right now and you're not sure that you even want to go back to the job that you were working in. You know, it paid the bills, but you hated it. So maybe you're like, okay, I got this time. I'm going to figure out something else that I'm curious about and interested in. So maybe you know that you need to learn a new skill or study a new field or something like that. You're not going to do that in the next step, the one thing. You're not going to do that immediately today. You're not going to get that all done, especially because it's a holiday and it's Easter and we should be eating eggs and ham, and even if we can't be with our families, we should still be doing something to celebrate the day and that we're all still here and we're not sick, assuming you're not sick. But I want to make sure that we keep momentum going. So we're going to pick our one thing today and we're going to take one action toward that. Now, we're not going to think about all of the things and get overwhelmed, the A to Z. Like say you decide that your one thing that you got to do is you have to add an online component to your business. I've been begging people to do this for years, but even when I was busy in corporate America and busy in my day-to-day life of running my businesses, I didn't do an online component. We had the bare minimum to get by online, and it was more than abysmal. It was horrible. But I learned the lesson that, and this is a huge lesson to all of us, whatever our business, we need to have an internet and an online component to that. But you're not going to do that whole thing in one day, right? It's not going to happen in one day, but you can take one step toward that. So today our action item is to just pick your one thing and then pick what, and ask yourself, what is something I can do right now to move me toward that? And it isn't a big step necessarily. Maybe it's just I have to go online and I have to do a quick Google search to find out, how do I even identify what the gaps are in my business? How do I find out, or what courses and what's available? And maybe I watch a YouTube video on a skill or a topic that I'm curious about. But we have to pick and do one action step, even a Google search. And it's just, what is the next thing? People get overwhelmed trying to do everything, and I used to be terrible about this. I always had a running like 400 item to-do list, and it was broken down in categories, and it was sorted by urgent and important and someday, but it was still 400 items long. So in the back of my mind, I always had at a subconscious level this stress of I always had way too much to do and I could never possibly get anything done. And I learned as part of going on, and it was before going online, but especially since I've been online, that it's not about everything or knowing all the steps to get something done. It's just about knowing the next step and then taking the next little move toward that next step. And we build ourselves stepping stones to get from where we are to where we want to be. So if I know my business is shut down and I want to open it up and I want it to be better than it ever was, there's a lot of different things I can do to get from A to Z, right? But I can only go to the first step, which is A, and there's probably several steps that I need to do to get even to the first step to get to Z. And I don't know what B, C, D, E, F, and G all the way to Z even look like. I can't imagine that far ahead until I actually take that first move toward what it is that I want. So say You want to work on your, everybody says mindset. I'm not going to talk about that. And your beliefs. Forget about that right now. Let's go real practical. Say you want to sharpen your whatever skills. Maybe your leadership skills, or maybe your management skills, or maybe your accounting skills. Maybe it's really specific. Maybe you've just, in your business, finding yourself in a tough spot because you kind of just been doing your accounting and your stuff on the fly. First thing I did was I just went out and I interviewed a bunch of accountants, and I found an accountant to keep track of the detailed stuff for me, which was one of the smartest business decisions I ever made personally. So maybe that's what you have to do. Maybe you just have to find yourself a good accountant or a good bookkeeper or a VA or a virtual assistant. Nowadays, pretty much we're going to do virtual stuff, or a company that does that kind of thing for you and helps you keep things organized. And so maybe you just do a Google search to find that, and then maybe you'll interview someone. You'll decide, nah, maybe I better just do this myself. But you won't know what the next step is until you take the first step. So a kind of convoluted way of explaining this. Bottom line, have an amazing day. Your action item today is to pick your one thing and then take immediate action to move you toward that, knowing that you're not going to get all the way there in one day. And if you do, bless you. Share in the comments below and let us know what you did and how you got to that next total step in one fell swoop. But don't ever, I don't expect anybody to. I don't think I've ever done that where I've decided I was going to do something and then magically it appeared, and it was already done, exactly what I wanted. Very seldom does that happen in our lives and in our worlds. So next, this is called next because one thing, what is the next thing I'm going to do? And then after you do that, guess what? Sometimes we get momentum and we get all excited, and so instead of just doing one next thing, all of a sudden an hour will have gone by and we'll realize that we've gotten 3 rungs up the ladder, 3 steps closer to what it is that we want by just focusing on the next thing. Because when we do the next thing, all of a sudden the other things that we couldn't even see appear to us, and the way becomes faster and easier than we ever thought possible. Have an awesome day, and I will be with you tomorrow with day 13 of our Get Up and Go challenge. The trick is to just keep getting up and going, right? We want to be always moving and always in momentum. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments below. Otherwise, have a fantastic day, and I will be with you tomorrow. Bye.